Hello, everyone. Rich Carlton here. Welcome to another awesome day. We are going to be having a lot of Nick today. All right. Well, today is another awesome day. We're doing FileMaker stuff. What is FileMaker stuff? People like, you should talk more efficiently and be more professional. In this broadcast, we're going to be talking about how to make a professional application where you can improve the ROI of your team, improving the coefficient of work completed as opposed to the dollars injected into your organization. To help us with this study of advanced calculus, I welcome Nick Hunter, known philosopher and FileMakerologist. Nick, are you there?
I'm here.
The graphics are pretty good at the moment, so let's cover a little bit of low-hanging fruit before we let Nick take over. This is FileMakerTraining.tv. I'm going to reload the page. When you go to this page, there are some tab links right here. And you can click on the live training to see what's coming up on the schedule. This week we'll be continuing with Nick as his conversation about the goodness of FileMaker. Once again, if you want to support the channels, most everyone here supports the channel. If you're watching this recording, all these are recorded. We welcome you to come visit us live, because when we do it live, we're on Twitch, on Discord, on YouTube. We are everywhere. But if you're watching a recording, just remember that you can support the channel by buying one of our training bundles right here. This is all of our on-demand FileMaker training. It's the most comprehensive FileMaker training, period, end of story. So we have, as part of our training, bundles are comprised of individual video courses. In the video courses, we have the FileMaker platform. We call it 2020. It's FileMaker 19. Sooner or later, FileMaker is going to get tired of calling their product 19 and 20. And eventually have product version 29 or something. I mean, it seems weird to me. So even Microsoft had that problem. They went to calling it by the year. We also have the deploy course, which basically is your server sharing course, and then we have the FileMaker Go and WebDirect course here. So these are the core courses right here. Pretty awesome stuff. You get all those. So make sure you support the channel. Check out our bundles. Let us know. Absolutely working on the book. It is a huge high priority because people are whining about it and asking about it. How can I call the book the 2020 book when there is no 2020 book? Yes, this artwork will magically get changed to 21, but we are actively trying to get this thing done. And we're trying to incorporate all the newest things that Claris has thrown, because they've thrown some newer stuff in the product. And the performance conversation, frankly, has gotten at a very advanced level. If you're like a very high-end senior level, it's kind of a complicated topic, trying to tune the performance. So Nick tries to simplify it for everyone, but it is kind of advanced.
Okay, so yeah, so today it's another great day of this design kind of course on FileMaker Go, specialized on FileMaker Go. So while I was doing building this webinar every day, I think it is time now to have a week blast in design in general. Okay, so why I've decided this is because design now is the key between a good solution and a bad solution. You cannot say now that design doesn't matter. It matters more than ever.
It doesn't matter.
It matters more than ever. So I want to do as soon as possible. So Rick, you can check that with Haley. It's time that I explain everything about the design, not just small pieces here, small pieces there. Because if you don't see the big picture, you can't understand the importance of the design. And when we say design, we're not talking about cosmetic. We're not talking about the car. We are talking about the UI and the UX. And what is the UI, what is the UX, and what is the UX in regard of the UI? It's everything has an importance. And FileMaker is, your solution will be great looking, great working, easier to work, easier to do everything you want to do if you apply the right design. But you need to know everything about it before you can, you can start doing anything. So I want to do that. So whatever you want, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, it will be everything about design. I am a professional, accomplished UI UX designer, not for web, not for a small piece, for the big picture. That means Xcode and iOS, macOS. I can design an entire application if I want, and I did many times. Okay, so but FileMaker we have only a limited amount of possibilities. So that makes everything even more complicated because you need to read about tens and hundreds of pages of talking about the design, and you have only 2 paragraphs applying to FileMaker. You know what I mean? So I did that work for you. Design is part of my everyday life. So I will come and, but I won't build big things, but we will talk about buttons, the fonts, the size, the spacing, everything, why it matters, why you need to do this. I'm going to come with explanations, not just do this, do that. No, there's reason why, right? And it's important for you to know. And then you don't think about it anymore. It becomes automatic. Right?
All right, so there's a question here before we dive into this. So Moki's looking about iOS SDK. RCC does very little iOS SDK. You know why? Because most people don't want to pay for it. Building an iOS SDK is basically an exercise in frustration dealing with Apple right now. So you have to, basically getting. So for those of you who don't understand this, I'm going to cover this real quick. So there is a runtime. So back in the day, there was this thing called, back with FileMaker, ended with FileMaker 18. From FileMaker 3 to FileMaker 18 was this thing called the FileMaker runtime, where you could actually kick out a kind of this custom copy of FileMaker Pro, and it would be bonded or connected or glued to your custom application. You could sell this thing, right, without buying FileMaker. Everyone said, oh yeah, we're helping FileMaker make millions of dollars. FileMaker realized very little revenue from that. So they killed that product. It was removed in 19, doesn't exist anymore. There is a FileMaker Go runtime, but Claris makes money on this because most people who do Go are doing connectivity to server, and when you buy connections to a server, you're paying Claris real money for that. So so this version of FileMaker Go, it's what they call the iOS app SDK, and you have to download Xcode. You have to go through this fairly technical process of provisioning and setting this up. There is Hansa at 240, not 42U, but 24U. Hansa, we talked about him before. He loves doing performance testing with FileMaker. And he's a really nice guy and very smart, very technical. He's in Czechoslovakia, or the Czech Republic now, or whatever you want to call that part of real estate in Europe. So the issue is it's fairly technical. We haven't probably done one in 6 to 8 months, and Nick doesn't do a lot. Miles Debsky, who does some of these broadcasts, is the guy who knows how to do that. But once again, customers talk a big game, but then they come to us and they say, okay, well, you're going to have to write a check to pay for this. I'm like, no. So it's like QuickBooks is a lot like that. We have people who say, oh yeah, we want to do QuickBooks, and they find out how much actual effort it is, not only on the development side, but on their part. Anyone who says, oh, I can do it for you in an afternoon, is lying their ass off. It just is. Yeah. You cannot even understand the business implications because you have to change your business process to use that. Well, with Apple, you have to get the security certificates, do all this sort of stuff. Hansa can help you cut the corner on that if you want to have him do it. We could go through and wrestle and make an video application, but we're not doing it, so it's not our core competency. But it's not the people who do iOS apps are some people who are trying to make apps and sell them on the App Store, and Apple doesn't like you to compile for the public for the App Store. They are okay with you compiling it for your company. And so, like, if you're a Ford or GM and you have 10,000 employees and you want to make a employee database that everyone downloads on their iOS app, it's just that's what Claris really wants you to do with it, or use it to connect a server, in which case that's where they make money. I'm all for Claris making money. I want them to be rich and famous and sell a lot of product, but yeah, so it's kind of it's fairly propeller head. It's why FileMaker is interesting and is easier to use. And then as soon as you go into the real world of real code, you start running into real frustrations with stuff. So anyway, interesting. All right, Nick, I took too much time, but it's an interesting conversation. And we're not really doing the Friday thing tomorrow per se, I don't think. I think you're still going to have content for tomorrow, right?
Yeah, and especially that it's because we're talking about the iPhone. I would like to finish it, but if I can, it's not a big deal. I mean, we are going to cover the max we can.
Okay. Well, I'm going to shut up now and let you run, and I'm going to go work on the book. So if you need me, just yell really loud because I'm not going to be. All right, go.
Yeah. So okay. So thank you everybody for joining in today. So the last 3 days we were talking about iPad. The first day was general rules about iOS and mobile, and then we start working on the iPad. Okay. So now we need to talk about the iPhone. Okay. So the iPhone is, I love making things for iPhone. It's very funny because you have a very limited real estate compared to a screen, to a computer screen, even compared to the iPad, and it's challenging. It's challenging, but it's funny, and you will see that the technique that I'm using to convert to come from the desktop to go to the iPhone, um, and the technique we call the compression. Okay, when you compress something, it's like if you take a balloon like this, air balloon, and you press it, what you will have two balloons like this, right? uh, Above and below your hands. It's pretty much what happened here. So you have a big balloon, which is the desktop, and then you press it, and then everything becomes vertical. Okay, so here we are going to talk about that. So let's start sharing my screen, and then you will see what I'm talking about. So if you people wanted to know about the fonts used in macOS, iOS, Watch OS, TV OS, whatever OS, okay? So this is the website you need to go, okay? So the developer website, and especially the design section of this website, is my favorite place in the world, okay? So everything I'm talking about, when I talk about design, I always follow what Apple says about the design, always, okay? Because they spend billions of dollars in research and stuff like that, and then just give to the people like this for free. Why? Because they want their apps in the App Store to have get the best looking on the entire the entire world. They want the best, most beautiful application. So they want developers to know about design more than ever, and you need to do this too. Okay, so the font for all the platforms. So you have this website here. I can share with her, but it's kind of easy. It's developer.apple.com/fonts. Okay, so you guys can copy it. So you go there, and then you have all the fonts used. SF, San Francisco Pro, San Francisco Compact, San Francisco Mono. It's monospace. So okay, this is you can Google what a monospace the font is, and then you have the New York, which is a very old system one. The first system on the Mac Plus, on the first, even the Mac 128, the 128K. That the New York, Monaco and New York was in Chicago. That was the free most used what's the name fonts. And it's funny that New York always been there. So that was for the fonts. Okay. So what about so we have other things about that we can talk about in this website. You have a lot of things, about typography, everything about this. You have a lot of video about the text management and stuff like that, text scaling. They explain you many things, and things gets moving all the time. That means, as you notice, the design changed dramatically since the first advent of the iPhone. Okay, so but that's what I want to talk about next year when we do this week blast about design. I want to explain to you the modification, and I'm going to explain to you the reason why they came from the design we had before to the flat design, and that was an economical reason. It's much cheaper to design using flat design than any other design. Okay, that I'm going to explain to you, and you will see, you will love it. Okay, so today we are going to continue our work of moving their moving their the iPhone the desktop layout on the asset here, and we are going to continue the compression. Okay, so we are going to continue the work of making this iPhoneable. So we make the layout for the iPad, so that we made that before. So it's here. This is the iPad portrait. Okay, so we made the this is the iPhone portrait. Where's the iPad portrait? Okay, here. So we have the iPad portrait here. So we saw how to do that. So pretty much the compression want to pretty much create a fourth tab here and merge this column that was a single column on desktop, and now it is merged in that slide section. Okay, so we compressed it. So now we have a much smaller kind of layout that we were before. Okay, so that was to compare, we had this layout here before. Okay, so we had this layout, now we have this layout. See we reduced a lot of things, but we didn't reduce any size. I don't know if you noticed this. We didn't reduce any size. Actually, we increased the size. We didn't reduce the size. See, this column now is more, and before in desktop we were hiding things in popover that now we don't. We just expose. Okay. Then we learn how to make a portrait version of it. Okay. So, and that is another compression. That one we eliminated we eliminated completely one section, one portion of the screen. That means this one, and then we incorporated into a pop-up window that we call card style window, and then we displayed that on the side. Right? That's what we've done. That's what we've done. Okay. So that's what we done yesterday. And so now we are going to continue the work of compression. Okay, we are going to continue that. Okay, so how we can do this? So here, let me see which one I open. So this one is the other one I open. Okay, so what do we do now? So pretty much what we want to do, we want to achieve this. So this is my, let me hide this. This is my layout. Okay, this is my iPhone layout, and that is the real size of the iPhone layout. Okay, so what we want to do, okay, now that we are in an iPhone, we have a single column only possibility. We have one column only. We don't have two column or three column or four column. We have one column only. So what that means, okay, what that means that here we have two column, like, okay, here we have three column, okay, and here if I do this portrait here, we still have three column, okay, even though it's kind of a two column because this one is a fake three column. But anyway, we have more real estate. Okay, we have still more real estate. So to give you a comparison, this stencil here, this stencil is the size of my iPhone. Remember this website here, the stencils. We have a website for each device. FileMaker came with a portrait and landscape with the UI hidden, the UI shown. Okay, so I have an iPhone 7. Okay, and so this is my world in portrait. I have a height of 647 and a width of 375. This is my world. Okay, I cannot have more. Okay, so what I've done here, I just put that number in my stencils right here. This is what I have, you know. This is my stencils. Remember yesterday, I told you to start building your iPad layout out of the portrait. Why? Remember, it's because by definition, every single layout we have on desktop are all portraits. Because landscape, rewind. You start with the landscape layout, not the portrait. You start with the landscape layout for the iPad. Building for the iPad, you start with the landscape layout. Why? Because all the screens in the world, with some exceptions, are landscape oriented. You know, the orientation of your screen you have in front of you, it's a landscape. You know, on the laptop, computer, iMac, whatever, or Dell computer, they're all landscape. Okay. So for the iPad, you start with the landscape, and then out of the landscape layout, you build the portrait. For the iPhone, it's the opposite. You start with the portrait. Why? It's because you have only one column at a time. You can show only this one, okay, this column here. You can show only this column here, and you can show only this column. You cannot show two columns like that side by side. You cannot. So we are going to explore how you can compress without removing things. How we can compress even more this. Okay. So here's the demonstration. First, you have to deconstruct this. Okay. Obviously, you cannot expose in your layout something that complex. Okay, with two scrolling lists here, one here, one here. So something like this, you cannot expose that on the phone. Scrolling here, scrolling here. There's too many things. Something you need to understand. It's more, the screen, it's smaller, okay? More, everything will look clumsy and complicated. You cannot have a lot of things on your screen. You need to evaporate everything. And doesn't mean that you need to remove things, but you need to organize them differently, okay? So I'm going to explain that right now, okay? So for now, we are going to take care of this section here, okay? So how we can deconstruct this on the iPhone? First of all, we need to take this. We are going to extract this. We are going to remove this. This stuff here. We are just going to remove that. You know, that going to remove, and we are going to put that on the side, and we are going to take care of the list. Now that we have what we call the master details. I'm not going to explain what the master detail is here now. You should know by now what the master detail here is. But now that we have this master details kind of functionality possible in FileMaker without to be a hack, like it used to be. It used to be a hack. Now it's not. Now it's native. Now it's there, okay, show me the records of the current table. We didn't have that before 18. Okay. So it's kind of recent. So now that we have this, you need to understand something is that the list view on an iPhone is mostly the way you're going to browse records. Let me explain. If I take an app on my phone, an app that I'm using a lot, you know, I'm not doing. I don't have any share of this company, but still. I love the app. The app is very well done, you can see they put a lot of work here in terms of polishing, in terms of functionality. It's extremely beautiful application. So the list view is where you browse. You browse, you look, you know, you down. This is how you browse. It's where you look the things, right? So you need to understand that most of the time you're browsing up, you say, oh, this is nice. What you tap something, and then you go back and see. And if you're not interested, you go back and you continue to browse. This is the list view. This is how the list view should be used for. Okay, so that's why what you want on the list view, imagine a list view, this list view with half hidden. Imagine this list view, but only with this, only this to be, see, I can see only this. You can't, you see, if you can see, no, you want all the real estate available, every single square inches you can get, you want to get them. Okay, so we are going to apply the same technique here. We are going to use as much of the real estate possible to show records. So then you get this. Okay, so what you do, you take those objects, you copy and paste them, okay, and then you create a layout that is exactly the size of your iPhone. Okay, now something I want to tell you. Remember what we did yesterday, what I said yesterday. You don't have to build, you don't have to build a layout for every single phone in the market. You take the one that you think it's the minimum. Anyway, FileMaker 19 doesn't work on an iPhone 5. So why you want to take care of the iPhone 5, AC, or whatever? Let's say you take this as the minimum, and then FileMaker using the anchor system, this system here, that we used to use all the time on desktop. FileMaker will automatically, adjust the layouts for a bigger iPhone. This is my minimum. This is my minimum iPhone. But if I have a bigger iPhone, okay, I have a bigger iPhone. Big deal. That's it. It's done. I have a bigger iPhone. Oh, I have a very big iPhone. Okay, you have a very big iPhone. Right? So you don't need to. You can if you want, because sometimes having a bigger iPhone, you can show more things and stuff like that. You can adapt. But if I go back to my example here, on the bigger iPhone, it will show me the same thing but bigger. That's all what it's going to do. So now we have, okay, so now there's something else that you need to understand, okay? It's the font size, okay? As you can see, as you notice, because I know you notice it, I know that. This size of the font is much smaller than this size. You can tell. Why? It's because on the phone, the resolution is more compressed, that you have more, let's say you have more points per inches on an iPhone that you have on an iPad. So the fonts, the size of the object and the font will look very, very smaller on an iPhone, which is okay. Demonstration. You see here, everything's small. It looks smaller. Even on my phone, it looks even smaller. This looks way smaller on my phone. Why? It's because the resolution of my Retina display on my computer is twice less than my iPhone one. So on my iPhone, it looks even smaller. This, okay? So, but it's okay. Why? It's because now our screen are extremely high qualities and stuff like that. So 10 years ago, I would have said, no way that will work on FileMaker Go. No way, for multiple reasons. First of all, the iPhone was smaller. We had a lower resolution. The touch engine, the touch kind of a feature on the phone wasn't precise enough for such small object. When you were typing somewhere, you needed a wider area for the finger, for the screen to capture the finger order and to translate that. So we had kind of technical limitation before that we don't have anymore. So I don't want to take care of those limitations. So when people say, oh, your button need to be 44 by 44, no, we don't care. Now the button can be as small as you want, okay? And the text, here the text on this here, on my phone, it looks like 11 size, you know? It looks like 11 on my phone, okay? So it looks like this. Like this. See? So it's very small. My preference is I want something a little bit bigger. Okay, that's my preference, because I'm wearing glasses. I don't know. My preference is to have a little bit bigger. So what you do when you have this, you just increase a little bit your size, right? So you take the same objects, right? And then you increase the size. So here the size where it was 12 here, and then it becomes 16, okay? So this is 16, okay? So 16 it's a nice kind of it's a good looking size on an iPhone, okay? So this is 16, and then I'm using smaller here. I'm back in 12 because, okay, this is another design technique. I'm not going to explain that design technique right now. That will be next year during my week of explanation stuff. Okay. So this is what you do. So let's go back to the fundamentals. I selected those objects, this and this, you know, this column here. I make it bigger a little bit. I tweaked a little bit the size, but that's it. And I paste this there. Okay. So now I have this like kind of layout, right? So this is a layout only dedicated to a list. So you have the search, you have this still works, everything works, right? So you have everything working here, okay? So let's demonstrate on the phone, okay? So on the phone, I'm going there. So this is how it looks like on the phone. Looks good. So this, see, I can scroll up and down, right? I can have the due date, you know, the out and the in, and I can sort, you know, I can sort here. Okay, I can sort by assign. I can revert the sort order. See, I can search. Okay, so that's all the functionality are there, all of them. Okay, so now you say, okay, Nick, that's great. That's very nice, by the way. Okay, that's nice. I have my navigation here, but what I'm doing here now, okay? And what about this? What about this guy here? Okay. So this guy here, I cannot have both in one row, in one column. I cannot have both. Okay. So what are you doing when, let's say you have 5 books on your hands, you have 5 books, okay, on your desktop, on your desk, you have 5 books, and you want to carry them at the same time. Do you have 5 hands? No, right? You don't have 5 hands. You have 2. Most of what you can do is carry 2 books, but I have 5 books. So what I do, you know, I pile the books. But we are going to do exactly the same thing here. We are going to pile them, okay, because I cannot show them at once. So this is what we do, demonstration. I have my layout here, right? And so this is the main kind of the main feature. And then I want another feature here, filter. Boom, I have my filters there. Okay, this is my filter. Okay, so if I tap something, it will show the thing. It's not implemented yet because that will be for tomorrow. I'm not going to show you how to implement that right now. Okay, so it just we are just talking about the design. So that means, see, when I need the filters, when I need the filters, right, I pile them. They are on top of it, because you don't need the filter all the time. You don't need that all the time. You need that sometime. You need to filter. Okay. So, and within the filter, but within the filter, you search, and you have a secondary level filter here that you are activating much more often. Okay. But here, there's a lot of choice here, right? There's a lot of choice, and you can add more choices. You can add your own type of your own filters, right? You're not limited to this. So this pretty much is a portal. So what we do here, how we do that? Very simple. Actually, it's simple. There's nothing to do. Let's say I have my layout here. Okay, this is my layout. So the layout for the list is pretty much one layout. Okay, and with the size of the iPhone. Okay. Now, for what's the name? The filter, you do this. So you create another layout. You have another layout. With the size of the layout, it's much smaller. See, it's much smaller than my iPhone. Okay, much more than my iPhone. I don't want this. Actually, I want the layout to be smaller, because otherwise it will take over completely the layout, and I don't want that. Why? Is because I want to convey kind of a sense of continuity. You need to maintain between the new window that you just opened. You need to maintain a visual continuity, saying, okay, okay, I understand. I'm still there. Look, you see, I'm still there. I understand. It came on top of it. See, you can still see a little bit on the background. See, you understand that you didn't leave the current layout. You're still there, but you are adding something on top of it. If this were covering completely the window, you will lose this visual continuity, and you could get lost. Okay. Let's continue. So now I have this. So what this is a layout with a portal. Pretty much, you know what I did? I copied this, right? I copied this portal and this, and I just reassign a little bit. I just tweaked the color. It was dark before, now it's white, because I don't want dark on dark. I want something that stands out. That stands out, right? So because you want to emphasize the fact that that's something else. Okay. So, and you don't want to confuse people, right? So this is what I've done, but it's exactly the same. T18J, the button here, the what's the name? The script here. The script here is the 2618B, and here will be exactly the same. 2618B. It's exactly the same, nothing different. Everything will be the same. Okay. So what I'm doing here is just simple. I added a button here that says filter. Why? Because this is how it works. Let go to see some other application in the market. Okay, and let's go there. See, you have filters. Okay. Looks the same, but they took they wanted to replace the window, and I didn't want. See, they said they replaced the entire window, right? See, they did that. I could have done the same. I could have done the same, but the problem is they have a nice visual effects, and we don't have it on FileMaker. We have some, but not there. We don't have a visual effect when we create a new window, which is, okay, don't tell me, okay? Don't tell me it's get me, the boss will rage better than me, okay? So visual effects are extremely important here, okay? Because they tell you what happens. They tell, okay, I wiped in and then you wiped out, Okay, so we don't have this. So that's why, because we don't have this visual effect, I didn't want to cover the wall screen, and I wanted to do that way. So it's my preference. Okay? So you there's rules, there's techniques, there's rules, but you also have some preferences. You can do whatever you want, but there's rules that you cannot violate it. And that's what I'm going to explain next year. But let's continue here. So I have a filter button here. Okay. And the filter button is a single script step, right? That's it, with a new window. And what the new window is doing? Okay. So I said, whatever the size of the current window is, and you subscribe to 50 points. Whatever the width of the window is, and you subtract 50. That will be the size of my new window. So demonstration. Why I'm doing this? Remember, that is smaller than the minimum requirement, right? This is smaller. So that means the layout, because of FileMaker kind of encourage system here, can increase and decrease. See, I can make it bigger and smaller, bigger and smaller. So here, let's say I have a giant iPhone. I have a phone booth. Let's say I have a phone booth. This is the new iPhone, the phone booth. Okay. And I click here, I type on filter. This is what happened. I have whatever the size of the window, the size of the layout, minus 25, 25, 25, 25. Why? Because I said minus 50. So remember, by default, a window on FileMaker, a CarStar window will position itself in the center, right? If you do this here, you say where you want to position the top and the left, then it changes. If you say you want to position on 0, this is what happened now. It's not going to position the same way. It's positioned here. See, on top. See, it's on top of the window now. I have my 50 here, but I don't have here. So by default, FileMaker position the CarStar window in the center. Okay. So, and that's what I want, by the way. I don't want that. I want to be centered. So I put nothing, and then FileMaker will do the job for me. Okay, so now that I have this design here, I need to, you need to make sure that people understand what's going on, right? Because here, for example, if I tap here and I select phone, for example, select this here, I want to make sure people understand that I am on cell phones here. So when you tap here, it's not doing anything right now, but that on purpose because I want to show tomorrow. But here now it says, oh, by the way, you search within cell phone. And I'm saying, oh, by the way, I found 95 cell phone found. Okay. So I am telling you, I'm bringing you whatever I select in the filter here, and I said, this is firewalls. And I said, this is Linux server, right? So I have a kind of a visual coming back here. And you see here, the filter here became red. If I say show all, it's not red. And then I'm saying assets. Now I'm generic. You show asset and you search assets. But if you select a cell phone, you show cell phones and you search cell phone. Okay. So it's a way to get to the user. Oh, okay. By the way, you are filtering. Okay. So this is what you do when you do the filtering. Okay. So this is one way to implement that way. Okay. But it is really nice to use the piling, like I said about the book. You pile books like this, okay, and now you can have multiple piling stuff, okay. If you have multiple filters, or you can have multiple ways you can pile. You can call a window on demand on top of the one you have now. So the CarStar window obviously save a lot of things here, and this pointer here to point to the current table also make the thing very easier, because before it would have been very complicated to do that. Before 18, I wouldn't have come here in front of you and showing this, because that would be a hack, especially because I have this here. I would have done this as a list view, but I wouldn't have been able to put that in. So now, so this is kind of a technique that you can use. Now I want to show you something. Before we talk about the filter and stuff like that, which is more complicated to, I mean, there's more work to do that. I want to show you how you go from one record to another, okay? So here, I'm navigate here and I say, okay, I want to show Pauline's Dale, for example. Here. So you say, okay, wow, this looks like an iPhone application. Yeah, because I am using all the design canon of Apple. So pretty much what you see here, and this is important. What this do, you know, when I tap here and I tap here, what is doing? Very simple. It go to, I'm going from one layout to another. Quit. Yeah, okay. Cool. FileMaker just quit on my face. Okay. Which is okay. Okay. Yeah, I know. Thank you. And so let's go back there. Okay. So here, when you go from one record to another, you stay on the same layout, right? So pretty much this here, what this is nothing else than doing this. Oh, sorry. So this here is doing this. Next. Not what it's doing. When you go there, if you do this, it's like doing this, right? They're the same thing. Slide here or slide here. Okay. So on the iPhone, on the layout here is different. Why? Because I am on one. No, I'm not in the right file. Sorry. Okay, admin. So here we have a huge difference here. I have one layout for the portrait, the list view on the portrait. This is one layout, right? Then I have one layout for the info, one layout for the properties. Sorry, that's what's the name? The typo here. So I have one layout for the properties. Then I have one layout. So I have one layout for the info, one layout for the properties, one layout for the picture, and one layout for the history. Before I had one layout here for the. So I show you the difference between the desktop and this. Okay, on desktop I had one layout, right? I have one column for the navigation filter, one column for the, and then I had one column that I was sharing 3 tabs. Okay, this column was separated in 3 with 3 tabs. Okay, so properties, pictures, and history was in one column, divided by with a slide control, with tab control, whatever. Okay. Then on the iPad, I started the compression kind of stuff, okay, and I removed the what's the name, this column here. I removed it, and I merged 1, 2, 3, 4. See, instead of having 3 tabs, now I have 4, and I merged the general info into this column here. So now I have one column with, okay. On an iPhone, you need to go even more because you have one column only. So you say you have one layout for the portrait, then you have one layout for the info. Okay, this is very important. So what this do? It just go to another layout. It go to another layout. That's what this button do. So here, what I'm doing here is this. So I'm going there, right? And I navigate here and I go there, right? And then you can see here now, I have this button here, but if I navigate here, see, this stays, okay? Because this is a new object, it's a new part object, okay? We call the bottom navigation. So there's two, top navigation, bottom navigation. No, they don't at all do the same as header, because they, I'm going to explain that tomorrow in detail. But so because we have this object here, which is on the, see my layout here, my info layout is way beyond the limits of my iPhone layout, my iPhone screen. My iPhone screen stopped here, but I don't care. Why? It's because I want to go further, and at the bottom here, I have my bottom navigation. The bottom navigation always will be displayed on the bottom of the window, not on the bottom of the layout. This is the bottom of the layout, but the bottom navigation always follows, see, always be, so I can have a small layout. You see what I mean? So it's not, if this was a header, like we were where we were using before, a footer, for example, here, it wouldn't have done the same thing at all. Here, what have we have? Where's my stuff? Oh, yeah, at the bottom of the screen. You have to scroll down to see it. Now, with the bottom top navigation, we have both, okay? It's always at the bottom of the screen and not at the bottom of the layout, okay? Yep. So thanks to this, now I can have a real native workflow. Let me explain before we go, okay? Remember, on this layout here, on my iPhone, on my iPad layout, or what's the name? My iPad layouts, or my what's the name? Desktop. I had this here in two parts. This here and this here. I cannot put side by side, so I continue my compression. So you have two types of compression now. One time we have to pile up on top, this on top of this, okay, on demand. That was one way. And now you have another way, is to put that at the bottom. So it was on the side here, and you slide it down, and you push down the layouts as long as you want. So now you have a very native way to navigate. See? So I can do this, I can go there, right? So I can go here, and I want to have a kind of an iPhone. I don't have an iPhone. Okay, never mind. So here, see, I have a computer down. See, let me remove this. Hold on. Let's remove this. So it's all okay to scroll up and down on the layout. And why? Because when I come back here, because I have my top navigation that always stay here. This always stay here, always. And the bottom here always stay here. So demonstration with my other app. When I click here, I have this. Do you think that's okay? That's all what I have? No, I have plenty of stuff on the bottom. I can scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll. For, you know, I have plenty of stuff. Okay, and then I go back, I have my list. But I want to select something, I can scroll down and down and down, right? Okay, so so I can scroll down and down, and you can see my navigation here stays. Other, we can check another way, another app. You know, let's take the App Store. You have this, so you scroll, and then you say, oh, okay, I want to see this guy. Okay, so now you scroll down, right, and you close, and you still have the navigation on the bottom. So this is how you build native looking layout between the list view and the what's the name, and the form view, and you see, really now it's not at all complicated to do this. Look, I just copy paste, and I reorganize, I make this Apple-ish kind of look with the big info bold here, like like if you open, I don't know, let's open our music, for example. So see, you have the big library, right? So now if you put my stuff side by side, see, they look very similar. See, my stuff doesn't look like, oh my gosh, no, it looks exactly the Apple standards. And when you navigate here, when you do this, it doesn't look like, oh my gosh, my stuff looks completely different and it's another world, it's coming from another planet, right? And this is important because now your stuff look very good and it still works very well. You still have the Casta window here, everything works. You don't need to, and you have this. So tomorrow we are going to continue, and we are going to continue on the effort of compression. But now you understood something. Let's recap. To pile up on demand with this way, okay? Because you want as much of the real estate for showing things, right? And when you select something here, then here, instead of piling up, you align, you put on the bottom, you keep adding on the bottom, and then you scroll, right? This is the other way. And tomorrow we are going to continue our effort of compression within data, and you will see it will be interesting. So I'm done.
Nah, you're good. You're just keep on going. You're just fine. I'm in no way trying to rush you off the stage. I'm just showing everyone that we have our ravioli ready to go. When you start talking,
that was the
ravioli bullshit, right? We'll be prepared. So
it took me yesterday. It took me, let's say, like 20 minutes of thinking, right? And it took me to build everything I built so far like this. It took me like 40 minutes. So let's say 1 hour altogether to get from the iPad layout, okay, to get that done, okay? So you see, having an iPhone layout, having an iPad layout, is not that big of a deal if you know what you're doing. And if you know all those concepts of compression, alignment, vertical alignment, or piling, because now we have new feature with FileMaker that helps a lot, right? So, awesome.
Okay, so real quick, so DW Howard launched a question here. DW, we're going to shut down the broadcast for now with our time slots done. This is where you hear the music and the person won't quit talking. But if you could write the email to send it to support at RC Consulting, that would be really great. Support at RC Consulting, and that will allow me to look at it, reply to it tomorrow, or pick another day we can reply to it. He's asking, where would I find information on the limits or sweet spots of FileMaker? The limits of FileMaker are probably a 30 or 40-minute, hour-long conversation, and then the sweet spots, I mean, it's a huge platform. It's only been in business for more than 30 years, so where do we even want to start with that conversation? All right, so that's it. Mick, we'll be back tomorrow. Appreciate it. And then, like I said, yeah, Dallas was good. Nashville, people like to get together. It would be a fun event to get together. A lot of you are kind of the extended family now, right? So when we say we're missing Bunny, it's because we're actually wondering where the hell Bunny's at. If we didn't care about Bunny, we wouldn't say anything about Bunny. Be like, hey, Bunny, whatever, go away. But we actually like our people here. They're really nice folks. And Nick is actually a nice guy, despite what all you probably think about him. So I hear rumors online about, how horrible he is, but I can tell you generally he's a really nice guy. So, right, Nick?
I'm a too nice guy.
Too nice of a guy. All right, that's it for today, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
And the guys just stepped up the whole way. Calm, cool, collected the quarterback. Great read, good patience. More importantly, great job up front protecting this quarterback to give you a chance. And that's all you can ask for.
Trying to rally down 10. 9:25 to go here in the fourth. Short motion by Amendola from the left. Brady takes the shotgun snap, stands in, throws it left for Amendola, reaches up and snacks a high throw and lands inside the 10, rolling to the 9. Ball slightly behind him, but Danny makes the grab.